During years, most people believed that the problem with money was something simple: earning little. That was what we were taught from a very young age. Study, get a good job, work hard, and with time, everything will be fine. That seemed to be the formula. But something strange started to happen in the last decades. People with good salaries began to feel increasingly financially pressured. Highly qualified professionals live in debt. Families that apparently earn, well, continue living from paycheck to paycheck. Then an uncomfortable question arises that almost nobody dares to ask. If the problem were only earning little, why do so many people who earn a lot still live with fear of money? The truth is that money has never been only a question of how much you earn. Money has much more to do with how you think. There is an invisible ability that separates people who work their entire lives without accumulating wealth from those who manage to build financial freedom, even starting from zero. That ability is called financial intelligence. And here is something that few schools teach. Having financial intelligence does not mean being a genius in mathematics. It does not mean working more hours. It also does not mean being lucky. It means something much more powerful. It means understanding how money really works. It means knowing how to transform problems into opportunities, convert income into assets, and transform everyday decisions into long-term financial advantages. Robert Kiyosaki often says that money is not earned only with effort. It is earned with understanding. And when you begin to develop financial intelligence, something curious happens. You start to see opportunities where before you only saw difficulties. You begin to understand why some people seem to advance financially much faster, even without working more than others. In this video, we are going to explore one of the most important concepts of modern financial education: the 5 types of financial intelligence. 5 skills that can completely transform the way you earn, protect, and multiply your money. And maybe, while you listen to each one of them, you will discover something that many people understand too late: that the real financial change does not begin in the bank. It begins in the mind, a silent moment in the life of many people in which something begins to deeply bother them. It is not a visible crisis. It is not a gigantic debt that suddenly appears. It is something more subtle. It is the feeling that you are working harder and harder, but the money never seems to move forward with you. Maybe you work 8, 10, or even 12 hours a day. You fulfill your responsibilities. You pay your bills. You do what society always said you should do. You studied, got a job, try to save when you can. And even so, something does not fit, because no matter how much effort you put in, money seems to disappear as fast as it arrives. At that moment, many people begin to ask themselves if the problem is the system, the salary, or the economy. But there's another much more powerful possibility that almost nobody considers. The possibility that the problem is not how much money you earn, but how you think about money. Robert Kiyosaki popularized an idea that completely changes this perspective. He explained that money is not simply a resource, it is a game of intelligence. And like any game, those who understand the rules have an advantage. He called this ability to understand and solve financial problems financial intelligence. Financial intelligence does not mean being good at mathematics. It does not mean having a university degree in economics. It means something much more practical: the ability to solve problems related to money in a strategic way. People with high financial intelligence do not see money the same way as the majority. When an economic problem appears, they do not panic. They analyze it. They look for opportunities. They ask, how can I convert this problem into an asset? Kiyosaki explains that there are 5 types of financial intelligence, 5 skills that separate those who live trapped in the cycle of work from those who build financial freedom. The first financial intelligence is the ability to produce more money. Most people spend a large part of their lives focusing on reducing expenses. They look for coupons, compare prices, cut small things. Although this can help in the short term, it rarely changes the financial situation in a significant way. Financially intelligent people think differently. Instead of asking how to spend less, they ask how to generate more value. Imagine 2 people facing the same economic problem. The first enters survival mode. They begin to eliminate small expenses. Cancel subscriptions, stop going out, cut details. The second person does something different. They ask themselves, what problem can I solve for others that allows me to generate more income? This difference in mindset changes everything. Great fortunes rarely come from extreme saving. They come from solving problems that other people have. Every successful business, every company that grows, every innovation that becomes profitable arises because someone identified a need and decided to solve it. When you develop this financial intelligence, you begin to see opportunities where others only see obstacles. The second financial intelligence is protecting your money. Earning money is important, but keeping it is equally crucial. Many people manage to generate good income at some moment in their lives. However, years later, they discover that this money disappeared. This happens because there are what Kiyosaki called financial predators. Excessive taxes, poorly structured debt, impulsive spending, contracts that are not fully understood. All of these elements can devour your money without you even realizing it. But there are also more subtle predators. An inflated lifestyle, social pressure to appear successful, purchases made to impress others. Many people receive a salary increase, and instead of increasing their net worth, they increase their expenses. They change cars, move to a more expensive place, buy things that look like symbols of success, but in reality only drain their cash flow. Financially intelligent people do the opposite. Before increasing their lifestyle, they strengthen their assets. They protect their money with knowledge, planning, and discipline. The third financial intelligence is budgeting your money. For many people, the word budget sounds restrictive. It feels like a list of prohibitions. But in reality, a well-designed budget is a tool for freedom. Because what a budget truly does is not limit your life. It directs your money toward what actually matters. One of the most powerful ideas in financial education is the concept of paying yourself first. Most people do the opposite. They receive their salary and pay all their bills. Rent, utilities, food, transportation, entertainment. And at the end of the month, if anything is left, they try to save. The problem is that almost nothing is left. Financially intelligent people change the order. First, they allocate a portion of their money to invest or save. Then they organize their expenses with what remains. This simple change in order can completely transform a person's financial future. Because when you do this consistently, you're building assets while others are only paying bills. The fourth financial intelligence is leveraging your money. The concept of leverage may seem complex, but the basic idea is simple. It means using resources that are not exclusively yours to generate greater results. In the financial world, this may include the strategic use of external capital, partnerships, or even the time and talent of other people. Many real estate investors, for example, use bank financing to acquire income-producing properties. Instead of waiting decades to save the full amount, they use financial structures that allow them to control larger assets. Of course, leverage must be used intelligently. Debt used poorly can destroy personal finances, but debt used wisely can accelerate wealth building. The difference lies in whether the debt finances liabilities that consume money or assets that generate income. Financially intelligent people understand this difference and use leverage strategically. The fifth financial intelligence is constantly increasing your financial education. This is perhaps the most important point of all, because the financial world is constantly changing. New markets appear, new opportunities arise, new technologies transform entire industries. Those who stop learning begin to fall behind. People who build lasting wealth develop a permanent curiosity to understand how money works. They read books, listen to analyses, study markets, observe trends, but most importantly, they seek information based on facts, not simply opinions. In the financial world, there is no shortage of free advice, rumors, and emotional predictions. However, intelligent decisions are based on data, analysis, and deep understanding. When you combine these 5 financial intelligences, something powerful begins to happen. You start to see money differently. You stop thinking only in terms of salary. You begin to think in terms of assets. You stop reacting to money. You begin directing it. You stop depending entirely on your time to generate income. You begin building systems that work even when you're not working. And little by little, something changes inside you. Financial anxiety begins to transform into clarity because financial freedom does not appear overnight. It is not a sudden event. It is the result of hundreds of small decisions made with intelligence, discipline, and long-term vision. Every book you read, every skill you develop, every investment you analyze, every expense you decide to avoid, all of this builds a new relationship with money. And one day, almost without realizing it, you look back and understand something that once seemed impossible. That true wealth did not begin when your bank account grew. It began the day you decided to develop your financial intelligence.